All right, looks like I'm live. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. Today we'll be continuing with the second part of our transitional door system. So let's switch the scene to my monitor focus over here, and let's resume. For those just tuning in, we were developing this corridor actor that will eventually be like a modular asset that will be used in various levels to sort of transition between rooms. So if we, imagine that this space here is a one level of a ruin, or sorry, one room within a ruin, and on the opposite side we have another room that'd be connected by a doorway similar to this, where we could travel in between these areas. Um, and it works. That's what we uh, that's the level we got to on the last stream. It only works in one direction though right now, and it only works once. So there's a little bit of cleanup we have to do, and among other things, we want to make it modular as well. But that'll be the last step. Sort of clean up, ensure it works in both directions, and then we'll add in the modular features so that it can be useful in all sorts of levels. So, we'll add walls too, of course. Anyways, let me see here. Probably a good start would be to open up the actor that we're editing here. Okay, so this is what's driving all of these interactions. Camera instructions are up here. We can move this off to the side, as it is definitely like supplementary. The main execution pin starts from here, our start interaction, and then we fade in through to all of these. So let's see here. Okay. So from start interaction, we come down here and run our camera transition, which basically switches our camera and sets our HUD to animate out. Pretty simple. After that, we orient our character to the correct starting location, play a sound effect, and operate our door. Once the door is open, we play the running animation on our character, and we move our character to the middle point. After that's done, we play our idle animation and call the close door event, which just reverses the timeline closing the door, setting our camera to phase 2. So here we're going to have like an interesting junction. Connect this up there, and now we will, let's go through here. I'm trying to find out where it breaks, where it doesn't work on the second pass through. Oh, I see. So we set these cameras to be active. So by default, let's see here. Auto activate is off for both cameras. we probably want to definitely have to reorganize this a little bit in terms of how we deactivate these. And so those instructions don't have to be there. We can keep it all contained in this camera function. It might actually end up being a function in the end. Activates/deactivates desired cameras. That's what's happening here. I just want to get an append here. Current door, current entry focused. Let's see here. Current entry focused. Let's make sure this is working. Well, the camera's working on multiple pass-throughs, but now we're just teleporting. So why is it play? Maybe you want to play from start. Oh, I'm editing the wrong one. Doors are fine. Yeah, I think we always want to be playing from start. Might have to speed up the whole sequence eventually, just to make the flow less, so it doesn't break the flow as much. But for now, okay. Looks like these work on multiple passes. Nice. Now what I'm going to do is let's make this work from the opposite direction. We have our locators with these arrows, but we're going to need more more cameras, if you can believe it. So we'll call this camera underscore 1A, and we'll duplicate it. Camera underscore 1B. And again, the position I'm not I'm gonna go too crazy about where they sit right now. Just want to get that functionality working, work on timing, aesthetics, and modularity afterwards. Let's see here. Okay. Transition camera. Door activate 0 and 1. How do we want to do this? So right now I set up this simple sort of flag, really. That just sort of toggles whether or not we're looking at door 0 or door 1, right? It's door 0 by default, but if you can work, I mean, it's 0 by default, but if you approach from, like, if you think about how it's oriented in the level, if you approach it from either side, it should work, even though we don't have a toggle for it. I mean, unless there are some dungeon-esque levels that have loops and intersections, and I'd rather not have to deal with those issues in like a later phase of the pipeline. So we probably want to enable that functionality from the get-go, which means might need custom attention boxes. I mean, I know these are inherited, but we'll just have to overwrite it. So proximity trigger, begin overlap, unfreeze character. We're going to use this. Actually, we might not. I mean, we do use it currently, but again, it might be something that's supplementary. So put over on the left. Begin overlap. We're probably going to need to use this and expand it. And let's just grab, sort of overwrite the event on the parent on component. Begin overlap. Oh, hope if I spell that right. Oh, let me select this first. Add event for attention box. Collision on begin overlap. So we have both of our attention boxes, default and attention box 1 for door 1. Sort of sitting just like that. Now the problem is originally we're calling this event to fire on the parent, and we're just basically flagging for this, but you no longer can call that on the parent because we're overwriting it here. So we're gonna have to disable that or delete that and reset up manually, but we're gonna have to just add the door active 0 or door 0 door 1. So I'm going to pull up the parent class onto my other monitor just to have it as a reference. Whoops. Let me pop out my chat here. Okay, now so looking at the reference blueprint, This shouldn't be too hard, really. They're both gonna have to use this reference. Move that in the middle. Just try to keep things as organized as possible. Set up a branch. These two we're gonna use over here. And we're checking this against the other component. So that is all the same. Disable interact for this actor we're never gonna have. It's never disabled. That is a feature reserved only for shops. Or not only for shops, but things that are affected by the day-night cycle right now. So from here, let's grab our reroute. And grab a can interact blueprint interface. And we set it to true. Set the interact actor on our character. And that's going to be set to self. And the next step is to create the HUD widget. And it's going to be our HUD signifier. There we go. Easy peasy. Set that as our widget. Yeah, set widget signifier. From here we add this to parent. Sorry, excuse me. Add to viewport, not add to parent. It's definitely incorrect. So our widget has an animation which we want to play. So play animation is what we want, and the animation we want to play is, I believe it's called Poppin'. Yeah. Could have a better naming convention for that, like enter. And probably more descriptive. And also on our widget signifier there is a notify sound, which we want to play. And we should probably set the signifier text. Well, not get it. Want to set signifier text to interaction title. All right. So this should provide, so no matter which one you overlap with, if it's the main character's, interact focus box, if it's in proximity for interaction, we enable everything. We show the signifier, and I think having it here shouldn't overwrite anything. The actual event can still be triggered from the parent, which is fine. Okay, so you can see, you can just set up the disable. But it's already there, which is weird. I might have to take a look at the debug and see, like, as to why it's not there. But we also have this end overlap, which we may have to use the same sort of logic on Thankfully, this one's a little simpler. So instead of disable signifier, what we actually want to set up is the remove from parent. Sorry. Yeah, remove from parent. Oh, it's not context sensitive. Let's see. Let's grab our signifier and remove this from parent. And then we can turn off can interact. And yeah, it's set to false, which is cool. Is character near? This variable was used a lot on the initial setup. I don't know if we're going to be using it necessarily. Let's just delete it right now. I guess we'll want to enable that. And silly me, I need to expand this and enable our initial attention box to use that as well. So on components, collision, and overlap is what we want. Well, they could go into the same branch, now that I think about it. There's no reason it has to be separate. They're checking for the same item. Still doesn't disappear. How bizarre. So I'm going to move this over to my other monitor so I can use that handy debug feature. Okay. Yeah, it's failing that check. And we have to see why. Interact focus box is being checked against the... Yeah, okay, so they do have to be separate for that exact reason. Hmm. There's no way we can overwrite that exact instruction on the. Hmm. Yeah, it's that one. It's having some strange behavior. What I'm going to do is, looks like this is just the case. Um, You're going to have an attention box underscore 0. Slide that guy over here. Yeah, make that bright green or whatever. It's sort of just the reality of it, I think. Anyhow, well, we don't need to get it. We can just create an event collision, begin overlap. Working perfectly. Okay. And both sides. So that answers that question. I'm actually just gonna move this a little bit higher up, out of the way, keep them together. One thing I do want to do is set these up way back here, because they both route into the same instruction. We'll set up here, basically, if we're checking through the store, pass through set door active to 1, set door active to 0. So now, yeah, that's firing. You can see that. So perfect. That brings us back here to the start of interaction. So finally, we can begin customizing this. So this is teleport to door orientation. Ideally, I don't want to have multiple giant execution strings for each possible direction. It would be cool if we could have some, select this if door active is equal to 0 or 1. Also, I should set the defaults to this variable, sort of like the native clamps. So the first thing we do is we select our camera function. So we have several events here. So these could all be separate, or we could boil these down into a single execution string, where we have, let's make a custom event. Transition camera, kind of like a main. And it would activate just like that, and then we could. No, you know what? I think it's more work to do it that way. Transition camera reset. I don't necessarily think we need that. 0A. So we're going to have a second starting camera transition called transition camera underscore 1A. And we're going to call that right here. I'm making use of this, so we switch to 0 here, or if door 1 is the active one, we switch to 1A. And that's pretty handy. So let's make sure that works first. What we have to also do is add our additional cameras. Definitely gonna need a bit more space, and basically for each camera that we have, deactivate one and activate the rest. But you probably want to deactivate cameras before, or maybe you want to deactivate them after you activate. It's to be determined. It's my first time doing this, so a little bit of experimentation here. Set view target with blend. Don't necessarily think we need to use this here. But the idea is, yeah, we deactivate all of these. And let's just make sure they all have auto activate to off. Okay. Animate HUD out, definitely. No matter which one we use, we want that to be the case. Let's duplicate these. Now let's make sure we activate 1A this time. And deactivate everything else. Gonna be a little messy, but don't think we can help that. And set view target with blend. Oh geez, did not mean to grab the variable, just want to get that pin. Okay, set that as a new camera. Now this should work. Yeah, no matter what, when we transition to cameras, the A cameras, we definitely want to animate the HUD out. And the print string is no longer useful, so we'll just delete that. Let's save, compile. Oh, it's clean. Let's test it out. So, from this side, they're gonna have some weird teleporting. We just want to make sure the camera location's correct. So, looks about right, but I think there are some conflicts in the logic. Oh, I was working on some house material stuff. Oh, let's get that out of here. So, Yeah, it definitely worked. We just don't get to go anywhere. Set actor transform. I think we can just share this. The new transform would basically be selected. And we select on that same integer. Oh, I guess we could reroute that, but whatever. It still works. Still works. Not wrong. Let's hook this up here. Get arrow 1. Just trying to maintain readability as I work. Yep, I think that's just what it is. So we pass through this way, and so now that will work for the correct teleport location. And we operate the door. This is a little different. I might need to use a switch again, because depending on which door you start at, obviously you want to open the right door. Right now they'll both operate the wrong door. And then after that door is opened, so we're going to have to set these up and use different custom events to drive them based on different branches. That's all. The more I look at this, the less I like this. Let's slide these over. Make some more space. I think the execution chains have to become long. I wanted to use selects, but maybe it's getting too complex for my own good, or needlessly simplifying things, and that won't work. Anyways. Yeah, set actor location, that is, it's actually fine. Both route through that. You route through there, set that as the new transform, get rid of this. So we have custom operate, not sorry. Yeah, we need custom events, just like we have for closed door. We want custom event for open door 0. Oh, what's up, Kratos? Sorry I missed your comment, dude. Hope you're having a good day, man. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the views and the company and all that good stuff. Okay. We're going to set this up on both sides. We can just duplicate these custom events. Just a quicker way to make them, I think. And we have open doors, door 1. So let's compile those. I think you have to compile to call the function. I could be wrong. Open door 0. Cool. Open door 1. Perfect. So As you can see here, based on whichever door is selected on the proximity triggers, we open up the door from the right side. So let's test that out. Correct. And if we try from the other side, sorry, I just realized that it's not gonna, we're gonna have some weird teleportation, but you'll see. Yeah. The point is the right door opens. So, I mean, we have all this extra instruction happening. We're gonna fix that up. Don't worry. Don't worry, guys. I want to get my webcam back up and running, but my new computer doesn't have a CD drive, and I'm having trouble with downloading the driver from their site. It's not working. And on my old computer, that's exactly how I installed it, and it worked fine. So I think I'm going to have to bug Julio to grab me the install file from his computer. Okay, so you open this up on finished, or on forward, play running animation. So let's think about this. Switch on timeline direction forward. We might have to make use of this switch again here. And we only execute the forward running animation in this direction to direction 0. And this is playing running animation to move character from door 0 to center to corridor. And here this is from door 1 to corridor center. I didn't mean to drag this along, and I did want to drag this one over. Generate overlap events. Right. That's an important phase. Just thinking about that right now. We may want to force close these and force enable them afterwards, because if you look through here, these doors open, but we're going to be passing through these as we travel. And as soon as the interaction starts, we don't need to have them available at all. You know, on this chain, obviously, this would operate as normal. But I think that is the way we should handle them. Just move that here. Connect that over here, and attention box 0 and 1. Can I flag this in there too? Crappers. Will that work? Okay. Generate overlap events. Set that to false. And the other thing we want to do is, Jesus. We should have a custom event to, you know what? Maybe I spoke too soon earlier. We're going to want to call our, or not call, but set our disable interact right here. Yeah, it's probably an easier way to read this. Disables HUD signifiers for during traversal. That is what that's doing. It would help if I connected it though. Okay. So if we continue down along here, oh, this is not right at all. This isn't move from door 0 to door 1. This is move from center to door 1. Move character from, oh my god, my typing is terrible. Corridor center to door 1. Then we call it a closed door event. And after we close these doors, yeah, after we close these doors, we're going to have to check this again. I mean, no matter what, you have to play the sound effect. But assuming we went from door 0, we want to set the transition camera to 0B. Is open? Well, I guess it's, yeah, I guess it's not open. Let's just reverse this around. I want transition camera. We didn't set up an event for it. That would definitely help. Okay, so we set up the opposite side camera, then back over here for phase 2. We call that transition camera 1B. And we pass that through here. However, I want to say we still need to follow this like subsequential instruction from here. This whole chain from the forward path, play the running animation, run through the door, turn everything off. This is all based on transitioning to camera 0B. Because that's what called it. We would call this over here, and we'd come down this event chain and call phase 2, which would set up all of this. We are going to need to move this though. I don't know if we need a phase 2 label. Maybe. Definitely need this. Set up our character orientation. That is a must. So because we're setting this up for the initial direction first, let's pass this through. So we set the character location, then we set the animation mode to the asset. This could be broken into a macro for sure, or may just collapse it. No, it would be a macro because we used it twice. And after that, we would timeline _1. Okay. Reset my playlist. And I'm enjoying some coffee. It's the good stuff kids go for. Okay. I want to say this is ready to work. Move to this position, set the animation mode. Then we close the door. And because it's closing, we return to character and play that event. So let's organize this a little bit more. So if we pass this through here, we return to character. And return to characters and event down here where we grab whatever our camera is and set it back to default, which is, and we call it event end interaction, which is a perfect exit. I don't honestly think we use this anymore. This is from an old setup, this like child event execute. Kind of nonsense programming. If I'm going to be harsh with myself. But this should work still. I don't think that was necessary. We'll probably delete that. Okay, so this should now work as it was before. Initially. Well, that door didn't open. Does it work on multiple passes? Nope. So, we definitely broke it. And that's because of this. Let's make a custom event for this. Disable Okay. Pass that through here. Move this guy over. Grab this. Close that, and let's move this up. Keep that up here. It's sort of where it belongs with the other signifier-based instructions. Now, we could call this on a flip-flop. Would that work? Except that yeah, we definitely could call this on the flip-flop. Just rewrite this like so, and add a knot here. I think this will work. It's a little weird looking, but should be perfect for what I'm trying to do here. I want to call that disable signifier or signifiers. Why is there two? It's a little weird. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Let's rename this. Kind of gonna make things confusing for myself on the parent actors if I call it just disable signifiers. Toggle signifier functionality. Yeah, create some breathing room there. Cool. Yeah, and this is what we want to call as soon as we begin the transition, and at the end we want to call that as well. Use that control key to drag pins, super useful. Let's take a look at this now. Oh, actually, hold on. Let's make sure why that door wasn't opening. Oh, yes, because we never called it to open. What we want to do is call an event here right after we transition the camera to open door 1. And when that's finished on the forward direction, we do nothing, because we're going to have the mirror of all of this down here on forward. But now it should work. And we got our functionality. Beautiful. Our signifier is still up here, which is weird. It might be because of... Oh, I didn't connect this. Oh, the other thing we have to do here is just add a sequence. Nothing crazy, but I'm just gonna route this up over here. And just make sure we remove that from the screen. and then disable it, and then re-enable it at the end of the traversal. So it pops in, beautiful. Hooray! Actually not hooray. Not at all. It's quite possible they're trying to do this fancy stuff. Has sort of allowed me, not allowed me, but caused me to make an error somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't work from the opposite way yet. Okay, it works, but that's signifier. That's signifier, though. Just gonna watch what's happening on my other monitor here. Try and debug this. But there was one last function I forgot to add in here. It's a branch. This was something that was included on the parent, and it's basically disabling the interaction up here. Alright, so we have the get disable. And because we toggle that on here, we need to make use of it. So I noticed that those were firing. So if disable interact is only if it's false can we fire through. Let's see how that works now. Okay, I know what's happening. See, we have the return to character event, right? Where we apply the camera back to our player controller. We toggle the signifier's functionality, which is all correct, but we have this end interaction here. And if we double click on this, well, I'll bring it over and show you. We set the actor, chapter, phase stuff all back to normal, which is correct. We have this custom function, this dialog box destruct. Inside of here, we have, exit any animations, but we are re-adding this signifier to the viewport. This isn't correct at all. this is what's showing up. Because normally when you're interacting with an object, let's say something like a sign on sticking out of the road, let's say, you're reading it, and after you're done reading it, you're still in the same place. And if you want to reread it, you should be able to. That's what that's for. And I would say 90% of interactions would use that. But because this is the case, we just need to copy these two functions out of here, or that function, one function, a variable, and paste that in here. And instead of calling that, we kind of want to just set this up as a custom instruction. It's sort of the same way we have these being custom versions from the parent, because they need to be for the this execution path down here. This one up here doesn't really need to. Unlock and interaction. Now we can move this up here. Because this guy ends the interaction. This is just like if it's locked and you don't have a key, like, you know, if you have a key, has a key. If you don't, if that's false, we end the interaction using the dialog style. So that should be totally fine. We can test that too if we want to. Beautiful. No signifier. Our HUD's still gone, but that's working. I can turn. Adding the HUD back in is no big deal. This is awesome. And it's working beautifully, multiple times. It's exactly what I want. So to get our HUD back, there's one last thing we have to do on this return to character function. We can probably call it. It is a animate HUD in. We need to execute into here. And, well, to be honest, it probably should be from either transition camera 0B or 1B. Both of those should execute into here. Alright, set view target with blend would simply just plug that in like here, or like so. 0B, let's get rid of this flip-flop and do once. And 0B would be right here. And this is the reverse of our HUD animation in. Yeah, like I thought, we don't really need that phase 2 event anymore. Let's compile and ensure it's still working. So that comes in pretty quick. Yeah, we don't want it to happen there. Not after this. So what we're going to have is a custom event here. Oh my gosh, return HUD. There we go. Right from here, right before we unfreeze the player, we want to return HUD. Call that, and unfreeze our player. And now, Okay, so it animates in quite nicely. However, it doesn't really animate out, it just disappears. Or maybe it is animating, but just super fast. Playback speed, 0, 1. Let's still take a look at her HUD. Why is that so fast? So the UMG folder, HUD, main HUD, and animations, we have our out animation. So you know what, it is a quick. It's not that quick. 0.25. And over here, start at time 0.1. We can start at 0. That'd be better. Number of loops to play mode forward, reverse. Playback speed, keep at default. Let's try this again. Yeah, looks better. Okay. So it works. Let's make sure it works in the other direction now. So we have open door 1 as a starting event. So what happens? We open door 1, it opens. And on the forward direction. So if it's opening, or how much of this we can just copy. Right, like running animation, move character from 0 to corridor center. That's all correct for the most part. Let's move this up. Just move this over. Sort of like that. So move character from door 1 to corridor center. Timeline 2. Okay, I see why these are getting those weird abbreviations. From XYZ to corridor center. That is correct. Animation looping is fine. Yeah, pass that through here. Yeah, let's make this a macro. Play run animation. Open that up. And let's customize these. We have the output. Why do we have this as an output? Oh yeah, obviously we do. That's fine. advanced run and Maya run. And we should be able to just copy this around. Call this PGV underscore main underscore in. And let's move that to the top. Well, not the very top. That was a little bizarre. So, oh yeah, that's why that didn't work. That's why that happened. We actually want that to only fire from door 1. Gotta be careful with that execution pin. Perfect. Yeah. Anyhow. I wonder if we need to disable all cameras after we end the interaction. If we have another instruction here. Right, it does work in our 4 directions. So what's our next step? Come through here, open door 1. Door 1 opens, and on the correct direction, we move to the center, And then well, actually, what we should do is close door 1. That would be the correct thing to do. We close door 1, which brings us to this event up here. And on finish of the backwards, play that sound for the door closing, and we have a transition camera 1B. So maybe the correct organizational chart for this would be something like this. Door 1, door 0, door 1, and we have the phase 2, if you will, below. Yeah, something sort of like this. So I just divide that like so. I'll put the door open false over here because obviously they both need to be set, regardless of the execution pin, that needs to be set before the split. And from here, let's duplicate this. So, the big issue with this setup right now that I can see is there are a whole bunch of timelines we don't necessarily need because they all are driven by the same result. Or sorry, that doesn't make sense. They're all driven, they're all operating the same way. Because, open door, or sorry, operate door 0, open and close, that needs to be unique. Because we're influencing different variables. Same with this one up here. However, move character from door to center is the same. And so is this. Like, it's the exact same. Same variable to center, same variable to center. We might be able to get with a custom event in the middle that says move to center. And they both can call to it. Because when it finishes, you still play whichever. Let's see here. What I want to set up now is let's set the timelines after 0. You can probably get away with 3 timelines. One for each door opening and closing, and one for moving character from XYZ to destination. because as you can see, it's all the same as always. XYZ is the start location. You just get a more complex execution on finish. That's all. However, for the time being, let's just make it functionally. Let's make it functional to start. We have 1B, which would go through here. We set the center. That's all correct. Run our play animation. That's fine. Our timeline is going to say the one arrow. This is the part that changes. Just this. Where's that arrow at? Door 0 arrow. Just replace that. And once we get there, we stop play animation. Close door 1. No, I just want to close door 0. Close door 0. Something like this will work. And just like we have up here, our close events that basically call the return to character. It literally would be the same, but for execution 1 on door 0. Or on the backwards, is that right? Let's see here. Something looks weird. So if we come through door 1, it opens, we get to go through. Once we get through, we close it. Which causes it to finish, and if it's backwards and we're going through, yeah, this wouldn't work. This kind of has to be over here. When this closes, but when this closes and the direction was 1, return to character, that looks better. Kind of hard to read. We should comment that. Maybe use a lighter red. End of movement. And drop that off right here too. Let's test this out. Beautiful. It's functional. Works multiple ways. Beautiful. Let's try the other way. Well, yeah. Some weird stuff's happening with our camera events. So sets cameras to phase 2. 0B. 1B. Yeah, I think those cameras are all off. So what are we activating here? Should be 0B. Perfect. Grab 2 more deactivates. And this one is 0A, and this should be 1A and 1B. Let's double check these. Cool. And down here, again, I'm not certain on the order of these, if it needs to be a certain way or not. Okay, let's activate 1B and deactivate everything else. Oh, also, it would probably be good if we execute into this. That's probably the main reason why it's not working. Player controller is supposed to be the target. And the newbie target is 1B. Right? Yeah. 1B. So now that should operate a bit smoother. Gosh. Yeah, well, what a, we got caught in a loop. What's going on? I'm going to hop over here, check out my debug view of my doors, and see what's happening. Okay. So, we want to do what? Operate door 1 with the door active integer of 1 being active. So, we open this door, and that plays forward. And on a 1, we play the animation, and we run through to the center. Is this set, though? Should be correct, because we teleport to the location first, or the transform, and then we get that location. Shouldn't be any issues with that at all. There should be no problems there. But there is. Transition camera 1A. Camera's correct, and if we come through here, camera's really weird. The whole perspective is different. Like, what's happening? See, this is correct. When we go through this side, the gates are opening this way, because I can see those actors over there. Whoa. What is the meaning of this? So let's see what's firing. We turn off the functionality of the signifiers. First thing we do is adjust camera 1A. Here we set 1A to be active. And everything else inactive or deactivated. The new view target is set for it's set for 1A, that should work. I wonder if we need to deactivate and activate the cameras last. There definitely seems to be a hierarchy. Okay, still weird. Super weird. It shouldn't alter the functionality, should be fine in terms of reshuffling that order. But the problem is somewhere here. Open door 1. It's supposed to teleport to this location. Totally weird. Oh, that's it. That is exactly it. Right in front of me the whole time. Okay, yeah, still stuck in a loop, but at least the world isn't rotating, like the actor itself. Okay, so let's look through here and see what's happening. We open these doors, running through them, and then we call close door 1. We close these doors, so that finishes them backwards. And because we're on path 1, we transition to camera B, which then opens the door Open door 1. Yes, that is wrong. Open door 0. And that's why I got stuck in a loop, because we're opening the wrong door with the integer of that never got reset. So now this should work. Pretty sure it will. Beautiful. And that works multiple times. From both ways. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so we've basically created the full functionality of it. However, yeah, I have to check that out because I moved a timeline or something. But whatever. So functionality is fully there, which is awesome. So what I want to do next is create modularity and clean it up, but we're running a little low on time, so let's just clean this up, and hopefully, not hopefully, but we have to clean it up and ensure that still works. And then I'll have to leave the modularity setup for maybe a third part, and I guess that would give me some time to make some proxy meshes, which is pretty easy. Which would be pretty useful in demonstrating and testing those features. So real quick, with the time I have, let's take a look at this. Move character. So it's a little messy. Hold on, let me just take a quick look here. Okay, so I have about 50 minutes left. I'm gonna take a quick washroom break. I'll be right back. This coffee has just ran through me. So I'll be back shortly, and then we'll continue with the cleanup of these timelines. Okay. How do I want to go about doing this? I want to replace this one timeline, because they all do the exact same thing, except for what executes after. So you can just put a switch there, kind of, right? So in a really lame way, I'm gonna look at this again. Not ideal. Move character. We're going to rename this to move character timeline. Create custom event. Move character. Delete that delay. Set actor location. Connect this through here. We're always starting with our location, which is correct. I mean, that always gets set ahead of time. Either here or here. So what we could do is set up a select. Yeah, use an integer for maybe not even door active, or zero and one. Yeah, index would be ideal. I mean, you could make a custom enumerator, but it's kind of excessive. Basically, we can add an option pin here. Set this up as option 2, and grab our other arrows for those other options. Move character, and we pass through an index. Hit 0, and we have 1. We have options here. We can't limit this either. And after that, so what kind of exits are, so we have closed door, closed door, closed door, closed door. Yeah, I think all we're gonna have is this right here. Because if we're moving from 0 to center, we close door 0. We would have to combine the timeline direction with the direction traveled. Actually, that's not right, because we're always going forward. We never play from reverse, so we can't use the direction here. for... Must be a way to route this. We need an input. I could use a series of booleans. It's not ideal. Let me think about this. Yeah, I'll just use a series of booleans. Or not a series of booleans, but a series of indexes. So from here, we need to enable for passing through the door, close 0. We can combine this with a boolean. Let's create new inputs. A to B. Plays idle animation. Copy these, and basically when this is finished, we need to route between these two. Camera A to B. And basically, if we're traveling from camera A to camera B, yeah, if we're camera A, we are always going to switch to idle. If we're using camera B, we're actually switching out to back to player controller, right? And if we are so this is false, we would end up, and yeah. So that actually just be the inverse. I think this is the right logic. We'll see. It should work with some tweaking. Worst case scenario. So slide this over. And what do we need next? So what I believe we can do now is disconnect all of these moves. Just create some space. And just want to call move character. And based on this information, we would be moving to the center, which would be 2. And it would be camera A. And over here, it would still be the center, but it would be camera. It would still be the center arrow. And down here, it would be, where are we going? Index 1. Set to false. And down here, we should have index 0. And, oh yeah, keep that false. So that should, let's see. I want to believe it'll work. I want to believe it'll be a nice, clean function. Not quite. I don't know if you guys heard that. It was super loud. So what happened? We executed from here. We opened the doors, passed through, and we're like, oh, let's run. And then we called this function with index of 2 and camera A. So we moved our character to our index 2, which is the center, and camera A was true. So we went to our idle pose. And then we, because we're going on path 0, we close this door. Upon closing that door, we came to the backwards event. Set door closed. And we set camera to phase 2, which worked. we open those doors. Open doors 1. That should be fine. Should have no issues there. Set our position. And we set the move character to index 1 and camera A was set to false. Oh, that's possible. Then what happened? We exited here. We closed door on 0. So this closed. Backwards. End of movement. That's weird. Shouldn't that be... Oh no, sorry. Yeah, this needs to be like this. And this has to be like this. Let's try that again. Well, not perfect. Yeah, let's play this from start. Beautiful. Awesome. Well, here we go, guys. Here we go. We're running a little bit late. You know what? I'm pretty sure we're on time. Pretty sure we're on schedule here. Thanks for watching. We finished up the functionality of our room transfer, as you guys saw, which is really, really cool. This is now ready for the modularity. I guess a part 3 will happen tomorrow, where we can set this up so that it can be used in any level we want, swapping out meshes, speed, sound effects. I think that's all that comes to mind. Switching direction, like different types of doors, might be a little bit harder. Probably not going to do that. But I hope to see you guys tune in for tomorrow's part 3. It should be really cool. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.